Welcome back. Today we're going to do the Hi-Viz Compara Dun. This is a thread body. This is a two-step fly. It's so simple, it's unbelievable. Thread body, dubbing, you're done. But I did this fly originally as a trico, and I really didn't fish it for anything except tricos for virtually forever. I kind of morphed it into a PMD later. You can see here. But the thing about this fly is it's its simplicity, its speed. You can tie it. It's absolutely indestructible. You cannot hurt this fly, and they just float forever because of the simplicity of them. But I want to show you just a super simple fly to tie. We're going to have, and like I said, I do it in. Generally this was a trico pattern for me, and I've never really done it in the really bigger sizes. I'm sure it would work. I've taken it up as high as a 14, but for the most part, really for me, the most part, it'd be 18s and 20s, 22s, and occasionally I'll do a 16. I'm going to tie today just so you can see it better. But you'll see that this thing, it's a speed fly. You can really rack these things up. So if you're, especially with tricos, when you're running that light tippet, man, you can just burn through trikes in a hurry. And so this one is virtually indestructible, like I said, but when you lose it, you don't have a lot of time into it. And for me personally, I think when you do a trico size fly or anything smaller than an 18, less is really more. When you overcomplicate a fly like that, for me personally, they just don't fish as well. And so we're gonna, this one's gonna be, like I said, it's essentially 3 components. You're gonna have 4 with your hooks. So with the hooks, we're going to use, and I'm using 11 tens, but it's not going to be a 14. I'm going to be using a 16. The next thing you're going to have is your thread. I'm going to use Semperfli 8/0 waxed here. That's the thing about this fly, the simplicity of it, because it's just the thread body. And a lot of people are afraid of thread bodies, and you shouldn't be. They're afraid they aren't going to float. They float great. They don't absorb water. And so you can do this. I was looking to see if I had another one laying here, but I like this. Like I said earlier, this was predominantly a trico for me. And for tricos, I generally carry 3 colors of fly. I carry a full black for the females. I carry the black and white for the male, or the green, that kind of bright green and black. And so super simple to change up. Just different thread, and you're done. So we're going to have, this is going to be our body. We're going to have a little EP fiber for the wing. Originally we did Hi-Viz, and Hi-Viz is this stuff right here. This is back in the 80s and early 90s that we used this stuff, and we can't get it anymore, right? So I'm freaking out, and then I realized it's EP fiber, so it's perfect. It's readily available, all the colors you want. And so other than that, we're just going to have a little bit of superfine dubbing for the thorax, and we'll be fine there. So the beauty of this fly, like I said, is its simplicity, its ease of tying, but there's a couple tricks that make it a lot easier to tie. And on this particular fly, the one I tied a little while ago, I was going to be, try to be the guy with the glasses that didn't have to use these. Not happening. I'm going to be able to see this one. So I'm going to do this on a 16. 16s and 18s are really pretty simple. You get down to the 2022s, we can't really do those on film because we lose can't see anything on the camera, but you should be able to see this one. Now, unlike most of the flies I do, when I talk about putting on your thread, on this one I start right at the eye. So I just need a little bit of base here. And so, give me that, get off of there. Got the thread messed around here. So we're going to start right at the eye, move back, go back to the halfway point or so. Then we're going to move back into the middle of the fly, in the middle of the front half. And I'm going to set my wing right here in the center. So I'm going to be at the 3/4 mark. And we're going to use, I don't know, half a popsicle stick worth, but I want to show you just a couple things because this fly is so simple to tie that you can kind of, but there's still shortcuts to it, right? And there's not much to it to start with. First thing is cut this really straight, just like this. So you got a nice flat spot right here. This is going to be your sunbeam wing, right? And so we're going to tie this in, and and this is, like I said, the most critical part of setting this thing. So, and there's really no way, it's about a half a popsicle stick. And air, if you're going to air here, air a little long, because you can trim it. But what I want you to do is get set so you don't have to trim it at all, because it's just a speed thing. You're going to be able to, when you get used to doing this, you'll be able to whip these things out so fast it's crazy. So I'm going to go in here, and I want the wing to be the length of the overall body. And so I set it right there. I'm going to come in at that 3/4 mark right here, and just give it 2 really nice tight turns, and let it kind of work around around the hook. So third one, I'm going to put one in front. That's just simply that one I put in front is just a little kind of an anchor. Now here's the trick, because we're going to use, the tail is the same as the wing. And so as you don't have a really lumpy body, if you come in here, you're going to cut from the bottom. Don't cut it on the top. If you cut on the top, you'll get these stair steps, and you'll have to sit and build up. And so you come in here and just cut it, and don't try to do it in 1 or 2 trims. Just do one here, and just slide back just a little bit more, and just kind of stair step this, right? And so you can see I'll start getting my body to lay down, and then you get down and don't pull this all out. And you're going to have this right here, come for your last one. It's kind of hard to see that little bit of fiber. We only need a few of these for a tail, right? So here's the thing. Right now, just cut this off, whatever, cut it a little long so you don't have, then just take this and leave it, and then just start right over again. So you don't keep picking up your materials and redoing it. I didn't change anything, so there's no reason I can't go with this 3 inches of wing and make a half a dozen flies, and I just keep going back from the starting, right where I started. And so here we've got the tail. You come back through here, and this is a 16. So, and you can see I've got this taper. It's already there. It's just built in, because I have the cuts on the bottom and the materials on the top. Lay over top of it, and you get this beautiful little clean body. Now we're going to come in here. We're going to set our wing up a little bit, and this is the beauty of thread bodies, is that I'm going to put a little bit of dubbing on here. We're going to clean up that little bit of stuff we've got underneath there. I'm going to make a really bulky, again, this was a trico to start with, and tricos are they're like the little mayflies on roids. They're just the most V-man you've ever seen. Poof, just like that, right? And so you want to have a very predominant thorax. I think that's a big reason this fly fishes so well, is that it's the contrast you see in the body to the thorax, and the abdomen of the thorax. So I'm going to build this wing up just a little bit, stand up, not build up, stand it up a little bit, and then I'm going to come behind it, and I want you to see something right here. One, I'm building this thorax wider thicker than the abdomen. But I don't know if you can see that or not, but I don't build it really close right now. Don't build right behind your wing right now. Just check your abdomen, come in here, and you'll see I've got a little bit of a gap right there for the thread. And then and that's so I can lay this back. So I'm going to put a little bit more dubbing on. And again, the beauty of this thing with these thread bodies is this super contrast you get in the light and the dark. And you can see it build so quickly. And so I've got I've got this little tiny bit of gap right there. And now I'm going to come in front of the wing, go right almost to the eye, and you see I lay it back, and that allows me to, I've got ants running up my nose. It allows me to go back and lay the wing wherever I want it, because I want it to lay a little bit back. I hate when I see these things sitting forward like that. I mean, it's stupid. The wings don't do that. And so just come underneath, make sure that you've got all your thorax is all black, everything's beautiful. There you go. Now we just whip that off. For sure that's the fastest fly we've ever tied on one of these. Whip it off. Boom. Okay, now just make sure this is laid down on the side where you want it. At this point you could come in, Make sure your tail's, you know, the length you want. If you don't want these, just trim off a few of them. If you've got too much tail, whatever. You know, a lot of people like a bigger shuck. I'm not a big fan of those really thick shucks. This is maybe a little bit overkill even for me, and which is about, I don't know, 8 or 10 strands. You can always go in and just trim those off. If you don't like it, just there they are. But the fish is great just like it is. This is an incredibly durable fly, like I said. It's super fast, as you can see, because the way we did it, it's a thread body. You get that beautiful contrast on the bottom between the abdomen and the thorax. It's super easy to build those tapers the way you want them. The fly, the beauty of this thing though, mostly more than anything other than the fact it catches the hell out of fish, is that you can see this thing forever. So it's super simple, thread, body, and abdomen, and wing. So it's pretty simple to tie for anybody. Start on a 16 if you're not done a lot of them. You know, when you get to the 22s, just scale it down and it'll tie so easy for you. Floats forever and fishes like a champ. Hope that helps you out. Thanks.